So how you doing, Honey Bunch?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, we're recording this just a couple days before your birthday.
That is true.
Yeah, so I
Yes.
figured we'd finally get to sit down after, we're the second week of February here, and we'd get to talk about the January games, our highlights of January. We're trying to do this every month now, so we've got new mics.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and we're in our game room at our house instead of up in the cabin. So we've got some games that we're going to be talking about behind us here and so on. So we'll get started. And I even have demo. I have props this time. So this is going to be good.
I know. I'm like, what is all this stuff laying around?
Well, I figured I'd talk about some of the things. So the big game that we definitely dealt with this last month was Expedition to Newdale. That's the lookout game from Alexander Pfister. And it is, so, you got your scoreboard and actions that you've got over here. This is based on the Oh My Goods card game, but every single chapter you got a different board, and it's two-sided and everything because you're building houses and you're trying to set up those goods chains, just like you have with the card game. But here now you have special goals that are going on.
In each of the different games, right? The goals change slightly.
They do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you have, as I was saying, the actions that you can choose to, discard your hand and get more, to build buildings, which is around your player board. And those are the things that are going to chain, and you're going to create goods by then also triggering those. And I saw it described as kind of a poker element that you've got,
there's quite a bit of risk in the game.
Am I going to produce at a so-so level or just a normal level or an extraordinary level? Because each round you're pulling workers out of the bag, and the buildings that you've got tell you, okay, you're going to need this many workers of these different colors coming out of the bag to be able to work at a particular rate. And then you can have fewer of those or more of those than are on the card, and which is the building. And then you can do that. So
it gives you a certain amount of goods,
exactly.
Depending on if you're successful at a low level, you might only get one.
Right.
Yeah, or you could get two or three. It depends on.
Right. You can always get coal, because that's a starting card. You always have that one available, and then there are other buildings that you're going to want to get. Now,
but
Shelley,
you might need to. You still have to activate coal. You might get nothing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But Shelley didn't realize, I think, as well as maybe I could have taught it, I guess, that the whole chaining bit, that you didn't even have to have the worker thing work.
Yeah, you don't have to be successful in the first part to do the second part.
Right.
Which is really great, because I would make it so I could successfully do the chaining, but then I would have had to use so many cards, because
you can get rid of
cards. You can substitute cards
for all the missing workers that you have.
Yeah, so that's a common thing to do. So this is called a campaign, right? The way we played it, but you don't have to play it that way?
No, because there's 8 different chapters. There's a story. Yeah. It's not like some of the other games that really kind of involve you in the story. This one just has these kind of connected stories that go through, and the boards definitely change, which makes your tactics change as you're going forward.
So, but if you go through the whole campaign, play 8 games, which we did, then you can think of, is there, in future play of the game, do you want to do the 3rd level or the 8th level, because maybe you like one of the boards better.
Yeah.
I mean,
the different chapters.
Yeah, the different chapters, which many of them switch boards to do.
Right. For example, you don't get into ships, which is one of the things that's happened until the very end of the game, and that gives you different opportunities to have different characters who are coming into the game, as you're then maneuvering by ship instead of moving your guy from town to town and so on.
But it was very easy for you to pull the cards that were needed to be added to each of the future games.
Right.
Because you're not really pulling out very many. I think occasionally you pulled out something.
Yeah, there are a couple times where you have new cards that enter the game, and they just stay usually in the deck for the rest of the campaign.
Right, so it makes it easy to pull it out and play it whenever you want.
Yeah.
And then there's so many different strategies because you're adding more cards each time. Sure. So, there's a lot of things you can work towards.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got in the full 8 chapters, and we would recommend the game. It's a pretty solid game.
I love it. It's a great game.
Yeah, good game.
It's definitely something we're going to be keeping.
Yeah, Expedition to Newdale, Alexander Pfister, and Lookout Games. Next is Colors of Paris. Now, this was named something else, and I'm forgetting the name of it. And so it has 2 different names with the exact same cover and everything. I've got it up top there.
Cover,
it's just out of camera range here. But the cool thing about this one is that with action selection, you have this rotating board here. So you're putting your pieces on the outside here. And then, so if, for example, I was able to mix my red and yellow to make orange one time, well, next turn I'm going to be able to increase my painting collection, or maybe the next time I'm going to collect red. So all of these different things rotate, and you are leaving one of your meeples on the board from round to round. So you plan for, not only do I want to do this now, but I'm going to see that, this is coming up next. So I definitely want to be in that spot to go paint or something like that.
And you can't be where someone else is unless it's in the center wheel.
Right.
So there's definitely some center blocking wheel, or some things that would make it so other people can't do exactly what they want to that round.
Right.
It's a really solid game. You make 2 paintings, first person to do that,
and that's the end of the game.
The game ends.
Right.
So it's a whole lot of fun.
Right. Colors of Paris, Nicolas de Oliveira from Super Meeple. All right, next one is the Florenza dice game. Now, this one is probably the more complicated dice roll and write, if you will,
it is.
Game than others. And that kind of goes back to its predecessors, because Florenza was a really big and 2 to 3 hour plus board game. And then the Florenza card game came out, and now, because everybody's got to jump on the roll and write bandwagon, it's the Florenza dice game. And so you've got not only your 2-sided board, this side is the one that you're writing on, but they say, well, have another piece of paper, because this lists all of the different buildings that you could possibly create using the resources that you're going to be collecting. But then you've got this main board where you put the dice, and you have an active player who's going to draft 3 of the 6 dice, and then everybody else can choose between the remaining 3, and everybody gets a choice there to take one of that and get the resources from that one. So you are active-ish at the very least, regardless of whether if you're the active player or not.
But when you're the active player, you're having a lot more fun. Because you feel like, I can do all this, and this one's, that person can only do that one thing. So, for me, I like to be going, we've determined I should go first. So that I don't get like really, I got to do one thing and you're going to beat me and win. And
right. There is that feeling that can happen in some games where it's like, oh my God, he's so far ahead because I win first and you only get the one thing.
Right.
And then you feel like you're playing catch up the entire game.
The game is very much this. You feel like you're doing these great actions, moves, and then you're like
minor things.
Kind of more not as good.
Yeah.
But this, I think, is an essential one for roll and write if you want something a little heavier.
Yeah.
It is really a solid game, and if you liked either of the other Florenzas, I would recommend it too, because it's got the same art.
Yeah. Well, and this one's probably going to get more play than the other two,
because it's so much faster.
So quick to get
but
out.
You are having to make complicated buildings, which then you utilize to do certain things. So that enhance your dice or enhance your points and things like that. So it's a great roll and write.
Yeah, exactly. So again, Florenza dice game from Danilo, Festa, and Placentia games. All right, the next one is La Stanza, and what do I got? Oh, this is what I got from here. So La Stanza, this is from Nuno, Bizarro, Sentieiro, and Paulo Soledade. Sorry, Paulo. And this is from Quined or Quined Games, and cool money. And look at these bits. Oh my goodness. You're moving your guy around and you're claiming masterpieces with cool pillars, and you want to have your different artwork. That's the piece of artwork. And this was very cool. We really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, you're going to different rooms which give you certain types of benefits when you go there. And so there's writers. There's writers.
Yeah. There's the religious. There is, the people who do the arts. Oh, that's Nuno and Paulo right there. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. don't know
I
if
hope
that's focusing.
so. I
That's
hope
pretty
so.
cool. All right. And these are the start things that you play with. And then you draft famous people of the arts and in religion and all of the various stuff. And then when you do an action, you are going to see how many of a particular color area, subject area, if you will, and so that means how powerful you're to be able to do the action, and that gains you the possibility of creating a masterpiece for points, or you're getting the you're moving your boat if you're in the explorer area, or you're getting a painting if you're up in the painters area. So you're getting the stuff in that room, or you're doing the masterpiece, depending upon how strong your action is. And so Stanza, thumbs up.
It's great. It's so fast. And depending on how you play it, it can be even faster. Yeah. It's a really a great think, and it's over. I mean, it lasts about an hour for 2 players, maybe an hour and a half.
No, probably about an hour
for like more players.
More players, it might get into the 90 minutes. Yes,
but for us, it was about an hour of really solid think, fun, great.
All right, that is again Stanza, Nuno, Bizarro, Sentieiro, and Paulo, Soledade from Quined Games or Quined Games. And so next is Foothills, Tony Boydell and Ben Bateson. So this is Ben, one of Tony's good friends, kind of taking some of Tony's ideas from Snowdonia and creating a 2-player only game. This is a card game, and you have a certain number of lines, train lines, that you're going to be putting out, and you're going to be doing that rubble taking, and you are going to be then building the stations on there, and you are going to, and this is the coolest part here, you're going to go to the pub. That's good. That allows you to swap out the starting action cards, because this is an action selection game where you have 5 cards in front of you, A through E, I think that's right. And you have a strong power on one side, but when you do that action, you have to actually flip the card over to its other side so that it's a weaker power. Sometimes you really want to do that action though, because maybe you get to build a station on a place where you have a ticket, because each of the things have a ticket. So you've got that, and then but when you go to the pub, you get to swap out an action card, and it comes in at full strength, which is totally cool. And then the card that you're getting rid of, you don't actually get rid of, it goes into your score pile, because all of the cards have multifunction, and it gives you a scoring. So maybe it's the number of tickets that you've collected, or maybe it is the number of stations that you've built, or the amount of rubble you've collected, etc. A lot of different possibilities. I like the game, 2-player only, so it's right up our alley.
Definitely.
I'm more, I have a more particular fondness for Snowdonia and probably Oliveira even more than that. But, really solid game. Card game, comes in a small box.
Yeah,
Foothills.
that's nice.
Yes. I think that's right over our shoulder here. Okay. Again, Tony Boydell, Ben Bateson, and Lookout Games. Another one is Grizzly. Now this is from Amigo. I forgot to write down the designer of this one. Sorry guys. You can look it up, but probably right down here below. I've got it typed and stuff like that. But now this is nominally a kid's game.
It's very much a kid's game.
Shelley already brought it to school.
They love it. Yeah.
This reminds me of, and now I'm going to forget, Niagara. Okay.
Now, in terms of the way you put the board over the box, and
exactly,
water's kind of falling down.
Right, and so you're the bears trying to grab fish, salmon, at the waterfall, but you don't want to fall over the waterfall, because then you lose all the fish that you might be trying to collect.
But it's okay if you fall, because you can climb back up, because bears fall down. It's okay. No, so I'm doing an open house in a few days, and the kids are choosing the games they want to teach to the families after they do some other, reading and writing type of sharings. And there's a few kids that are going to be sharing this game. It's a push your luck game. Sure. So my kids who love Tullum, which is a huge success in the classroom.
Jekyll games, we've talked about these a lot.
They're great. So I knew that when we played Grizzly, I was like, oh yeah, my kids will like it a lot, because I knew they liked Tullum. So each kid's they're going to be teaching different games during the open house to the parents.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and so that's Grizzly from Amigo, and finally, Paladins of the West Kingdom. This is from Renegade, Shem, Phillips, and S.J. McDonald. And this is the second in the series of the new series, if you will. Because hold on just a sec. We have a dog at the door.
Our dog is very needy. Maybe the dog will now be in the video.
Come here.
Now he's actually running away. Our dog is crazy, but very cute. So hopefully you'll get to see him. Here comes Crazy.
You had to be in the video, didn't you?
This is our crazy dog.
This is the crazy dog. Yeah. Couldn't be out here without, he has to be part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, Paladins of the West Kingdom is the second in the series after Architects of the West Kingdom. This is the red box games. And I think even more than Architects or the Viking games and stuff, this one packs so much in a much smaller square box.
It's full though.
Crazy.
I mean, I don't, does it even go fully close? It is completely full.
So, it is completely full.
Yeah.
It does close though.
Okay.
So everybody gets their own player board that is this big. And then you've got two strips that are in the middle of the table that are twice as long as this thing. And you've got worker placement. So you've got different colored meeples that you're going to be placing. And then you're drafting your paladins each round. You get 3 in your hand. You're going to have one that is going to be the one that you're going to keep. One that goes on the bottom of your pile. One goes on the top of your pile. So you know what's coming for the next round, or one of the 3 that's coming for the next round.
That's a great
exactly.
mechanism.
And you have so many different ways to possibly score points and move forward. You know, you're building a wall, possibly. You are getting your monks. You are dealing with the urns along the bottom and scoring points that way. There's just a lot of different ways in which you develop your power and then make use of it through the cards that you're going to get, through the actions that you're going to take, and through the different colors of meeples that you're going to be using to do actions.
Yeah, because a lot of them need specific color meeples, and other ones have a neutral meeple that they can use.
Neutral, blue.
So you're you always want more pieces, you always want to do more things, and you're trying to figure out the best thing that you can do each time. And it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I bet you do have to have some serious space to put this on a table.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Even
for 2 players, it was like, we're spread out all over the place.
So you're on one side of the table and I'm on the other because it was big. But it is a lot of fun, especially if you love that type of worker placement.
Yeah.
Where you put out the worker, they do things for you. They have to be specific in color. Yeah. And trying to get those right colors, it's so essential.
Yeah. Paladins of the West Kingdom from Shem Phillips, S.J. McDonald, and Renegade Games. And that will do it for this review of our highlights of January. Remember, you can listen to the podcast at garrettsgames.com. We're up to, I think, 7:10 or 7:11.
Something like that.
When you get this podcast or this video out. So remember, like us and subscribe down below. And we look forward to talking to you next month. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.